schools and training is so crucial.
For the industry, it's everything, absolutely. We need talent and we need skill.
I've got a few friends in particular actually that are currently considering just leaving the industry, but we'll feel the effects in 3 or 4 years' time when the industry suddenly has a huge dip of people working in it.
Arts departments have faced budget cuts for years. Training artists have been forced to learn at home. The effects of not only the pandemic, but also the disregard of the arts as a viable subject could have a devastating effect on everyone in years to come. I spoke to those training and teaching to understand the immediate impact. What are you training in and why did you choose this career option?
I'm in 3rd year of a PE and dance course, which is really fun. Get out of your head kind of thing. So if you're really stressed or just sad or happy, it's kind of just a way to express your feelings and emotions. It's kind of an entertainment thing really. People watching, it's just amazing. And then for us who are training and doing it, it's a thrill almost.
I am a jewellery and silversmith student. I'm in my 2nd year at Farnham. Contemporary side of it's quite interesting. It's wearable art forms. I think you need the meaning behind this really well. The art's a part of like everybody's everyday life. In terms of drawing things, I think it holds such a meaning. Things being passed down generations as well. It holds meaning, it holds sentiment, and that's personal to each individual.
How do you feel as an art student right now?
Lost. It's just hard to know what we're doing because obviously with university we've got lots of dance assessments, so I can't do it because I don't have enough space, so it's kind of confusing what we're meant to be doing. We're not really getting much attention. The government kind of just think that it's not on their priority list, so it don't get funded enough really. For new dancers it's harder to get anywhere, especially if you're from not a wealthy place. The arts, trying to save the arts.
I haven't been in the workshops that would normally be available. So I haven't really made much silversmithing work. I haven't really developed my skills at all. And I think that has kind of hindered my process in terms of making jewellery and things. But it's difficult because it's not necessarily like the university fault. There's nothing that they really can do. We can't exactly go into the workshops. But it definitely has a pause, let's say, like on my development within jewellery.
How important are people training within the arts?
I think it's really important. Obviously, the more people that train, the more like it's going to happen. Like if no one trains, then nothing's going to happen. No theatres or anything. We really need more people training. People that are training, they're not getting as much training as they would normally.
What do you teach within the arts and why do you love it?
So I teach drama at secondary school. I've been teaching about 7 years now. The thing that I love the most about it is the aspect of watching students when they get into an idea, something really creative, and how they start rolling with that and that process that they start going through.
I teach dance. I've been in this school this is my 16th year. I want to be able to do this for as long as I can because it's been my only real output, I think, in terms of being able to express myself positively, and I love sharing that passion with young people.
Why are the arts so important in education?
Expressive nature of the arts for young people in particular who I think are faced with so many more issues and challenges, just kind of the technology world, the media type that they respond to. I think that they need subjects like ours to be able to have positive output in their lives. And I think it can be a lifeline for a lot of students, for a lot of young people. And also, arts in education, it's a thing and it's existed throughout history, and unfortunately there are some very narrow-minded people out there who are completely unaware of how long it's been in education for and part of building cultural capital.
We live in this weird point of society, the idea of the individual and the collective, around sort of Adam Curtis, and particularly as a Western society, we live very much as an individualistic community. And most of my experiences are teaching in schools like where I am now, which is quite rural. Even if I compare that to when I worked in a school just outside of Birmingham, and within all of these circumstances, the students that I've taught have had, I would argue, a limited understanding and experience of the world around them. Their picture of what's going on is very centralised and involved in the area that they live in, which I think is important. Understanding your society and understanding your community is important, but I think understanding the wider world around you is also another part of that is missed with some children. And I think drama is, and I think the arts in general, is one of those things that gives you that availability to move out of this is me and move into this is where I fit within this bigger picture, within this bigger world, and within this bigger sort of society that's going on. And I think where they get that level of putting it into a performance, not all, but I think a lot of students, they're removed from that cliched sense of what's going on. And when they move away from stereotype and the different kind of challenges or suffering or issues that are faced within that, how they then fit within that wider circle of it.
What is the problem within education?
Our subjects is given less contact time than other subjects. Things like that, in my view, highlight there is a lack of value being devalued. There are cultural and social influences that define how our subjects are valued. It's about class system, I think it's about history and historical influences, social influences. I think people have formed their opinions on the arts subjects based on class differences and sometimes not being able to fully engage with how progressive the arts have been over the years. And I feel like we are always often bottom of the heap, the least kind of prioritised area that gets considered. And it's bizarre because the things that have kept people going in lockdown in particular it's because of subjects like ours.
I could go on for ages. I think the big thing is that the arts as a whole has been neglected government level since the 80s. Within the performing arts, there's fragments of it. So dance and drama in particular are something that are usually sidelined, and the repertoire behind it is, or can be, ignored and can be seen as not having value. If it's done in a certain way, it is respected, particularly when it's from the government's perspective. When you look at the history of it, that is something that is then respected. There is this constant fallout of parents and students not understanding the full extent of it and the full benefit of it. There's a part of that needs to be blamed as well on teachers and advocates, because there was again this kind of notion that drama is there to build confidence and dance isn't its own thing, it's part of PE. Because it's not that I don't think that they're relevant, I think they are relevant, but I don't think they're the main thing. I think the main idea around it is that we should be studying and understanding the repertoire of how drama, dance, music, art, all of those faculties help not only enlighten us as people, but it also helps us, like the Greeks kind of said, it helps us understand where we are, it helps us understand what we're doing, what's going on. We as humans naturally want to tell stories, and I think that in its own right should be part of it. We all respect and love watching films, TV programs, sense of story that went with it. I think just that in its own right, we need to respect that, because we do elsewhere, we do as a medium, but yet we don't as a subject, as a topic.
What can people both within the arts and outside the arts do?
I've found a new appreciation for the effort that goes into arts and actually the time and skills that are needed. So I think we'll actually have more of an understanding of everything and more of an appreciation. A lot of effort and time, and it's people's lives, it's people's careers, it's all going into this, and they're not getting as much appreciation.
I think a lot of it probably comes down to financial support, influential support, in the sense that you need people who are policy makers, decision makers, to be advocates for your subject for us wider afield. Politicians, industries and big organisations that can fund and again raise the profile for us would be really helpful. We need to be able to show people, actually, look at how superhuman artists can be, raising profile, keeping the profile high. And that's really difficult, I think, because one of the things we know as artists is that we're often the first people in a studio and the last to leave, and bring an awareness to people and say, look how important these subjects are.
There needs to be a wider catchment of drawing in performers, which I think to some extent come under some sort of budget, like government budget. There used to be obviously the Arts Council, which is still going but isn't as well funded, and I think something like that coming back would be really important in allowing local theatres something they're going to really need, and in order to get back up and running. There needs to be a better sense of accessibility to any art. There's a bit of a sense sometimes around art that it's like it's its own little world, and if you don't know about it, if you don't know the world, you can't get in. And I think people need to be aware that you can. You're not going to have someone next to you judging you for not understanding something. You can go and watch a piece of Shakespeare and enjoy watching it. You haven't got to understand what's being said. If you do, brilliant, but that's not the be all and end all. The point is the feeling that you get from it, themes that you can draw from it, that embracing of it, particularly within local communities. I think there needs to be, from the industry side, some more sense of accessibility.
Throughout this mini documentary series, I've explored the arts industry from both inside and outside perspectives. It is clear there is a big problem within the UK and something needs to be done. Take what you have learned and share our story. Continue to support small businesses and never stop talking about the arts.